Thank you for tuning in to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, the show that is part of the Simply Luxurious Life online destination, cultivating true contentment, the art of living a life of quality over quantity. Visit the blog, The Simply Luxurious Life, at our simplified URL, tsll.co or thesimplyluxuriouslife.com to find the show notes for each podcast episode, as well as much more weekly content to elevate your everyday and deepen your contentment. From a Monday motivational post, recipes, videos of the cooking show series, style and decor inspiration, French and British inspired content, and readers' favorite regular weekly post, This and That, which is posted each Friday morning. Now to today's episode. Welcome to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables, and whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a café au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to the 344th episode of the Simple Sophisticate. We are in the office here at my house, and I'm watching little one play away with their toys. Some of them are just pieces of paper. Anything to keep her distracted from going after all the cords that are associated with podcasting, which I have to give her a lot of credit. She actually has not gone after any of the cords, which I have been keeping up high and out of the way, but thankfully there's a lot more to distract her, because if she really wanted to go after him, she probably could. But anyway, we are moving through that phase, and it's been a delight to see her grow and what entertains her. And by the end of this, she may be in my lap. We'll see. But we are starting today's episode talking about decor and this idea of why we should invest in key decor items and what items are worth investing in, and just kind of walking through that process through the helpful lens of some very well-respected and experts in the field who have been at this for quite some time. But before I get to that, the petit plaisir for this week dovetails beautifully with what we're talking about today in many respects, but also in a more Francophile-specific approach. So tune in to find out what that is at the end of today's episode. Now she is working on a box, which is perfect. Perfect. Just chew on this box. All right. I want to begin with a quote from a British interior designer who has been in this field for many decades, is renowned in her trade, and continues to create fabrics that are sold around the world. Nina Campbell. Here's a quote. And this quote actually, and the whole conversation that surrounded this quote, inspired today's episode when I listened to it during a podcast episode this summer. She shares, "I am sure there are trends, but I don't really like them because I think trends come and go very rapidly," end quote. This was shared in a conversation with Country and Town Home podcast, a UK podcast. And it was this idea of investing initially so that you aren't always starting from scratch when you begin again, whether it's at a physically different home or simply redoing what you have in your home. And with that said, keeping in mind that creating a sanctuary takes time, but it need not take the same amount of time each time you set up a new home. Similar to getting to know ourselves, unconsciously from day one, we may be drawn to certain tastes, preferences, aesthetics, etc. And this is where we can begin both in understanding ourselves and in curating a sanctuary that rejuvenates, comforts, and welcomes us home, even if the location of our home changes over the years. However, and some compare or equate whatever our decor aesthetic preferences are to our capsule wardrobe. And so I do think there are similarities there. You want to obviously invest in quality pieces in your wardrobe and in your home decor items. We've talked about that for many years here on this podcast and on the blog, the idea of quality over quantity, cost per wear. But unlike our wardrobe, the sizes of the types of furniture or decor items we are drawn to will not change. Even if the color palettes do, which they often will, or they will need replacing. And this is good news because that means you can begin investing in the items for your sanctuary before you even have a penny in your bank account saved up for a down payment or the first month's rent. Decorating our homes doesn't have to begin from scratch each time that we move into a new home. In fact, if we are starting from scratch each time, we are wasting money, we are wasting time, and we are harming the planet. Unless, of course, we are leaving all of our furniture for the new buyer or the next renter. And most of us are not doing that. Most of us are taking what we have with us. And some of us are leaving it, and every situation is different. But the point is, there are all sorts of benefits directly for us, but also for those beyond us. And you actually liberate yourself when you invest in quality decor pieces initially, so up front, which enables you to never have to start from scratch again. How could it possibly liberate you, you may be asking, especially because, hey, you just spent all your extra money on a custom sofa. I don't have any money left. That's not being liberated, Shannon. Well, that is exactly what today's episode is all about, sharing the many reasons why investing in key decor items will help you curate a sanctuary that is tailored to you and the life you love living, so that you do deepen the quality of your life. You do deepen the quality of your everydays, and yes, you will be liberated. All right, so I have 7 key points I want to share about the importance of investing in key decor items. And then I have a list of items that are worth investing in. So let's start with the benefits of investing in key decor items. Number 1, the pieces you invest in have the endurance to last a lifetime, or at least a few, if not many decades. Again, here's a quote from Nina Campbell in that conversation. It was good in the first place and is still good today. Similar to well-made clothing with high-quality fabric, furniture that is well-made well from the inside out, a structurally sound sofa, beds, chairs, tables, etc., will go the distance, many lasting your entire lifetime. I will include stoves in this as well, because if you are someone who spends regular time in the kitchen, invest well in a stove, and yes, it can last your entire lifetime. The quote that I just shared above was, as I mentioned, from Nina Campbell, who is a renowned British interior designer. And she shared this particular quote as she was talking about an experience of having worked with a client for the second time, so in a span of about 10 to 15 years separation. She returned to the same house, and many of the primary pieces did not need replacing because they were well made, but the kids had grown up, and so there was an evolution of the space. And the idea was, and we'll talk more about this in item number 5 in our conversation today, there's a little one playing with her toy, is that there's a benefit in having high quality furniture and high quality large appliances, but generally speaking, you save yourself an extra step of having to go shopping for yet again another item. If you purchase a cheap item that looks good today, but isn't well made, no matter how many times you recover it, it will still not work nor last or be comfortable. The idea of starting from scratch is eliminated when you buy well. Yep, you're paying more up front for the first time purchase so that you don't have to pay for it again down the road when your tastes change, or what is more likely, the piece falls apart or you realize it doesn't fit well or is not comfortable. So the first reason to consider investing in key decor items is that they will last a super long time, some your lifetime, and most many, many decades. The second reason, and probably the number 1 reason on this list, is this is a sustainable approach. The sustainability choice in buying a quality piece of furniture or large appliance for your home ensures it won't be clogging up landfills. Mass-produced furniture that is typically inexpensive also enables us to be less attached to the item and thus make the item easier to toss. Granted, some may take their items to Goodwill or have a garage sale, but when you purchase furniture you love and is made well and that you need as it provides a function in your home, you are able to keep it and use it for decades to come and also often become invested in it to take good care of it. As I will share in number 7, our last item on our list in more detail, part of why buying antiques and consignment and vintage is worth doing is because of the sustainability approach. And while it may take more time to find what you need, when you find it, again, you will become more invested in taking care of it well because it took time to find, thereby keeping it in your home for a longer duration. So that's number 2. Why should we invest in key decor items? Because it's a sustainable choice. 3, it saves money in the long term. The price you pay for the high-quality armchair today will be the cheapest price that armchair will be sold for if you were to shop for it again, say 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Just how the market works. It's just how inflation works. It's how the economy works. A well-made piece of furniture, if cared for well, will actually increase in value. A cheap sofa or chair will do exactly the opposite. In other words, it is not easy to plunk down a large sum of money. I know that. Whether it's on a dining room table, a sofa, anything, your eyes just look at the price and you're like, oh, no. But if you know it's right and you've done your homework and it's well made and fits your home and lifestyle, you will have it for your entire life and perhaps hand it down to the next generation, only needing to have it refurnished or refinished or restained when it exchanges homes or has shown great wear after many decades. Try to think long term if you are struggling to pay the price tag of a custom, for example, Howard & Sons London sofa or armchair. And instead think about how you will be able to have a trusted and loved piece of furniture for decades to come, even being able to hand it down and doing so with it and being in great condition, even if the upholstery changes. And I mentioned this talk about sofas a lot, and I talked about this in episode 341 when we talked about the English cottage decor aesthetic that is inspiring the customization of my home. Rita Koenig, who is the daughter of Nina Campbell, is also a well-respected British interior designer. And I took a Create Academy online video course from her. Highly recommend it. One of the best things I did during the pandemic and learned so much, and it guided a lot of the decisions that I was making. I wrote a detailed post about that experience as well, and I will provide a link on the show notes to that. But she also writes contributing articles to different home decor magazines in England. And for House and Garden, she wrote an article sharing advice on buying the perfect sofa, sharing different brands and everything. And I will share that link on the show notes today. So you can get an idea of why, number one, a sofa is definitely going to be on the list of key decor items to invest in. Her mother and herself agree this is definitely one of the pieces to invest in. But you have to get the one that's right for you. Okay, so that's number 3. Another reason to invest in key decor items is that it saves money in the long term. Number 4 is that you give yourself the potential to change the exterior of these items, but the value is retained due to high quality craftsmanship. What do I mean? When you invest well in furniture you both love, as it speaks to your aesthetic taste and lifestyle, and that is well made, as mentioned in number 1, when your life changes, when your color preferences change, all you have to do is change the exterior as the skeletal foundational components are doing just fine because they were well made in the first place. Even if you have to replace or even refurbish the seat cushions, which I have done. I had an older chair that was handed down to me from my great aunt and uncle. Beautiful chair, but the seat cushion needed to be completely replaced on top of having it reupholstered. Partly because it was worn out, but also because of smoke. My great uncle was a cigar smoker, And so we wanted to get rid of that smell as well. So that still made for a very inexpensive chair had I gone out and bought the same chair with the fabric as well on top of it. And that will save money. From changing the upholstery or refinishing the wood of a beloved desk, dining room table, or side table, this is where you save money and time because you already have what you love. Now you are just taking good care of it, which reduces stress to have to find something that works for what you need. So that's number 4. Now I have 3 more items I want to share with you, along with a list of key decor items that are worth investing in. But first, I have 2 sponsors to introduce you to. I'll be right back. With Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn the renowned Parisian bakery Palin's philosophy and time-tested techniques for baking rustic French bread from Apollonia Paulin. You can learn about relationship intelligence from Esther Perel, who is a renowned psychotherapist. Or learn from the Dame Helen Mirren, who shares everything you will ever want to know about acting. With over 150 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. Having taken Alice Waters' class, who teaches the art of home cooking, I generally enjoy just seeing her in her kitchen and how she brought in the seasonal vegetables, working with Mother Nature and that seasonal eating approach, as well as a market fresh dinner. From going to the market, planning, prepping, and then enjoying the meal. Because it's not necessary to sit down and consume a full class start to finish, I generally enjoy the 10-minute lessons. You can watch one wherever you are, whether you're in your office, whether you're relaxing on the sofa, maybe while you are traveling, or maybe, and I've done this too, while I'm walking. I just listen to what they have to say. So you're taking the class as you're walking. I highly recommend you check this out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a Simple Sophisticate listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/simple now. That's masterclass.com/simple for 15% off Masterclass. The Simple Sophisticate is also sponsored by Bombas. Gifting is hard. Bombas makes it easy with socks, underwear, and t-shirts that feel good and do good. They feel good because they're thoughtfully designed with the softest materials, and they do good because for every item you purchase, Bombas donates another to someone in need. Whether it's socks for your brother who actively partakes in sports, or for your niece and nephew who run through socks as quickly as they grow in inches. And Bombas socks will last a long time, feel good, and do good. Bombas socks, underwear, t-shirts, and slippers are cozy upgrades to every basics and the perfect gift for everyone on your list, including yourself. Bombas uses material like premium Pima cotton and ultra soft, never itchy merino wool in their socks and t-shirts, and fuzzy Sherpa linings in their slippers. And did you know that socks, underwear, and t-shirts are the 3 most requested clothing items in homeless shelters? That's why Bombas donates 1 item for every item you buy. So far, Bombas has donated over 75 million items of clothing. That's a whole lot of comfort and a whole lot of good. Give the good this holiday season with Bombas. Go to bombas.com/sophisticate and use promo code sophisticate for 20% off your first purchase. That's Bombas, bombas.com/sophisticate, code sophisticate for 20% off. Bombas.com/sophisticate, code sophisticate. So let's continue into the reasons to explore investing in key decor items. Number 5 releases you from having to worry about trends. I'm going to share the quote again by Nina Campbell. I am sure there are trends, but I don't really like them because I think trends come and go very rapidly, end quote. I am repeating Nina Campbell's quote because she began her career working under the wing of John Fowler. I will heed her wisdom when it comes to trends. Sure, we all have an aesthetic we are drawn to, but that is separate from a trend. Nina Campbell, for example, has a particular aesthetic that draws clients to her. But what she does is not trendy, and each client's home, when complete, will be different. The difference is when an interior designer creates spaces for different clients that all look somewhat similar but neither reveals an individual, then that is trendy. In other words, an interior designer brings their expertise, but listens to the client's needs, their lifestyle, for example, and what brings them comfort and rejuvenation, their personal taste and their life journey, and designs a home and an interior that reflects their client. You want to see yourself and the people who live in your home in the interior design you create in your sanctuary. This most definitely takes time, but from day one, you can begin including something you love that speaks to you. For me, I have always been drawn to cozy, deep armchairs and sofas, wingbacks, and wallpaper. I can remember going to the interior design store in our small town with my mother when I was a young girl, being able to select the wallpaper for my bedroom for the first time. I was so excited to be able to have a say in the decision making, and flipping through all of those wallpaper books was a joy, and most curiously, a good time. As well, I also know what I am not drawn to. And that also plays a role in where we begin. When we don't know, we try out things and we learn along the way. I once thought, for example, that a blue painted bathroom would be a great look, feel, and aesthetic. But for me, I learned it wasn't. Lesson learned, and I carry that information forward with me to the next apartment or house that I was making my home. With each home we step into, or each new redecorating project we begin, we bring with us the knowledge and experience from our past projects, homes, and interiors. To be guided by a trend, as I shared in episode 341, is not entirely a bad thing. Quote, if an aspect of a trend speaks to you, there is a reason, and that is how we hone our understanding of what will work for a long duration of time in our homes as we decorate for the life we love living. But if you are not decorating in an approach that honors you, but rather following what others approve of, and in such an approach to life in any arena, decor, fashion, or life choices, this is never an approach that will lead to true, lasting contentment. So number 5 is by investing in decor items, you are actually freeing yourself from ever having to worry about trends. Number 6. You can move to other rooms or have new arrangements in the same room and expand upon what you have rather than starting from scratch. Having furniture you love and that is well made gives you the liberty to change where the piece is placed in your home. Perhaps a chair that was in the office now is moved to the new bedroom for guests, or maybe the bed frame in your primary bedroom is moved to the guest room of your new home as you have one more room to furnish and your tastes have changed, so you want to welcome a new bed frame into your primary bedroom. Ultimately, what you are doing is giving yourself options and saving money, reducing what you need to add to your space because you already have very nice pieces to work with. So that's number 6. You give yourself basically room to play and to reorganize, but not having to start from scratch, which is fun initially. But if you love the items you already have, you're already many steps ahead. And that, to me, that unknown of what you're going to find, of what's going to add or fill that one particular space that you need, that's the fun part. Well, there's a lot of fun parts, but that's one of the many fun parts. And the last reason to consider investing in key decor items is number 7. When you cannot purchase custom yet, what do you do? So, and I've been in this situation, and I still am in this situation for some things. But for example, if you cannot purchase a quality sofa, it took me until I was in my early 40s to be able to purchase a high quality sofa. What'd I tell you? Here she is. She's on the lap. What do you do then? Because you need a sofa. So here's a quote from Nina Campbell to start this conversation. I strongly believe that people may not want or may not be able to start again from scratch. So giving old furniture a new lease of life is at the heart of my philosophy, end quote. When we begin furnishing our homes, beginning in college for many of us, buying new and high quality is just not possible. Often we begin with hand-me-downs from family members, and that is just perfectly fine. As you begin to purchase items, you likely still will not be able to purchase high quality brand new, let alone custom pieces. So head to the consignment and vintage shops and go treasure hunting. Scour the estate sales in your new hometown, but be patient. Ask questions and don't be afraid to barter. My first antique purchase was in college. It was an oak pub table that at the time for me cost a fortune. It was $400 and I still have that table and it has been well cared for and functions and looks beautiful to this day. Purchasing consignment and or antiques or vintage when we can and want to is a sustainable approach as well to decorating our homes. It may take time to find what we are looking for, but remember, you can always update or adjust certain finds. If, for example, the item is made well, but the upholstery needs to change, it's not to your liking, or it's ratty or tattered, that is easy to do, and you've saved money and helped the planet. I've written a detailed post about consignment shopping, and I'll link it on the show notes if you want to explore that a bit more for the benefits of doing that. So, let's take a look at what items are worth saying yes to, even when you see this big price tag and you think, oh, should I do this? The first 2 items on this list of 8 are ones that Nina Campbell hands down says invest, invest, invest from the beginning. And they are a sofa, and I'm talking not just any sofa here, a top brand, and again, find that link in the show notes. Rita Koenig shares different high quality brands and customize with the fabric that you want, which also will add to the price. So that's number 1, out of the gate, sofa. Second thing she says to invest in is a bed. We're talking the mattress, the headboard, the frame, etc., everything. Obviously, probably more so the frame and the headboard and the footboard if they have a footboard than anything. But you do want a good mattress also. You also want to invest in good upholstery. And we're talking chairs, sofa, ottomans, benches, anything that you are either recovering or if you already have a piece in mind and the company, has the fabric you want, that's great, but don't compromise. This is where, to invest is important. And I think the underbelly of that is to make sure the piece that upholstery is going on, if it's a armchair, for example, or a sofa, is also well made so that the upholstery is going on something that's going to last. The other investment decor item are window treatments. Now, granted, window treatments are things that are probably going to stay with the house when you leave, if you leave or sell it. So this is really going to be determined by you, your budget, how long you're going to be there. But you might take the curtains with you. I don't know. You can always repurpose that fabric. That's the other thing. Think about, if you have beautiful, tall draped curtains in your next home, maybe the ceilings are a little bit shorter, but you can still use that fabric. Or maybe you turn that fabric and you put it onto a chair or in pillows. So again, upholstery, invest in it. You can use it in all sorts of different ways. Now, with window treatments, I'm not just talking about the fabric, though. I'm talking about hardware and customizing the length to fit your space exactly, and making sure you give yourself enough fabric so that the curtain hangs properly, whether it's open or closed. Now, this was something I talked about in quite a bit of detail when I gave a tour of my dining room curtains and my reading nook curtains on the blog for top tier members. And I give all those details of why it's important, but also all the other information of the before and afters if you want to check those out. The other piece to invest in is the flooring. Now, if you own the home, hardwood, tile, things that you can't take with you that will stay with the home. But the one big investment you can always begin investing in, and I highly recommend doing this from the get-go, are rugs. Rug. You can take those rugs with you, purchase high-quality rugs, care for them on your travels, find them, bring them home, ship them. You may also want some carpet. And again, high-quality carpet where it would work best in your home. Wallpaper. Invest in high-quality wallpaper. It makes it so much easier to hang if you're doing it yourself. And it will also look the way you imagine it to look and finish well. If you are someone who regularly cooks in the kitchen, and you all know that I am one of those people, invest in a high quality stove and oven, or stovetop, whatever you need or whatever you use it for. There is nothing more enjoyable than having a stove that just does what you need it to do. And it's not for show. It's allowed to get dirty. There's no bells and whistles if you don't need bells and whistles for what you do. And it will last decades. Well-made, large appliances go the distance. And that is such peace of mind, but also a big pocket item off your list for decades. And the last thing I will say to invest in are hardware, and specifically in the kitchen and bathroom fixtures. And I'm talking door handles, faucets, hooks for heavy use areas. Invest in this item because a flimsy door handle, cheap hooks, cheap drawer handles is akin to not wearing nice shoes with a really nice outfit. Finishing the room well. Now she's chewing on the cord to the microphone. Okay. We need to get you another toy. Yeah. So those are the 8 items that I recommend investing in when you're able to. And you could almost include art here, but art doesn't have to be expensive, as we all know. Some art is priceless because of where it came from or who created it, and it may not be of same value to someone else. So I think arts can go both ways. It depends on your eye. So you could include art here because that could be something you could always take with you wherever you go. And that would include art pieces, so sculptures and vases, things like that. And again, that depends on your aesthetic and your interests. So those are the items to consider investing in for the long haul from day one. And you can, for the most part, bring all those things with you to your next home or your new home, or recover for a redo in your current home. Decorating our sanctuary in many ways resembles putting together an incredibly large jigsaw puzzle. And over the years, I have come to thoroughly enjoy putting together my own puzzle. And I'm talking well before the home that I'm living in now. It going all the way back to my days in college. That's where some of my first lessons of painting and arranging and consignment shopping began. I mean, I had a gold sofa in grad school. That gold sofa did not go with me after grad school, but I thoroughly enjoyed it that year, and it was a learning lesson about the joy of a long, long sofa. But wow, gold can be very, well, not relaxing, let's just say. But this is where you learn, you have fun. I didn't spend that much on it, so I didn't waste any money. And so it was a very inexpensive lesson that taught me a lot. Of course, knowing what the right pieces are takes less time. As I've learned throughout this journey over the course of 20, almost 30 years now, knowing what the right pieces are for my lifestyle, it takes less time. I know them pretty quickly. But because I don't want a mass-produced item, or I know where what I'm looking for is found, and it's not something I can go at the moment. Maybe I want to be over at the Brocantes in France. Obviously, I can't be over there this weekend. Oh, I want to go brocante shopping. Those kind of things just don't happen. So I keep my eyes open wherever I go. But it's one of those things where it just takes more time to acquire these pieces, and that's okay. Because in the moment that we find and purchase and then welcome home the piece that fits just as we had imagined, it was worth the wait. And our comfort and pleasure in our home deepens, and we become more rested and rejuvenated each time we spend time there. Of course, the journey of decorating our homes is forever ongoing, just as our capsule wardrobe is, and knowing ourselves and learning about the world and how we partake and engage with it. But that is the fun part of being alive. And our homes stay alive because of this regular awareness of how to live well, tweaking, adding, layering, editing, etc. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode and generally consider investing in key items, being patient, going out treasure hunting, and taking that breath to say, is this worth it for me? And only you will know. But the key thing is to know yourself well and how you enjoy living and want to feel when you're in your space. So I wish you a wonderful and most enjoyable journey of curating your sanctuary, and may your puzzle tickle your mind and bring many smiles to your days as you discover what would be right at home in your abode. All right, so you can find this list, both those lists, on the show notes, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 344, and I'll be right back with this week's Petit Plaisir. So this week's Petit Plaisir is a decor book, and it is called Parisian by Design, Interiors by David Jimenez, and it's written by Diane Doran-Sake. It came out in October, and I had the opportunity to receive a review copy. And, well, if you love quintessential Parisian design, you're going to thoroughly appreciate this book. Now, David Jimenez is an American, but he's lived now in Paris, on Ile Saint-Louis, in the middle of Paris, for over 6 years now. He has an apartment there, and he also has his own boutique and shop for his interior design business. And so the first half of this book, and it's got beautiful captures of all of his residents that he has lived in, so San Francisco, the Midwest, and also his apartments, an apartment that he now calls home in Paris. As well, he owns an 8-room private apartment in a centuries-old manor house on the grounds of a 16th century chateau. It's just about an hour north of Paris and 30 minutes from Chantilly, and it's the small village of Santine. And the pictures of this apartment, this one I think is my favorite. He has the quintessential large, soft blue shutters, and the views he has of what you look at on these grounds, these beautiful garden grounds, a moat around the chateau, high, beautiful ceilings, as you might imagine. But it's his layering of the items, the furniture, the artwork, the vases, the books, the framed pictures of botanicals. There is a calm energy that he creates from his genuine love of Parisian quintessential decor. And the latter half of the book are locations, destinations, and places to shop and why he recommends shopping there. The marché aux puces, so the flea markets, antique shops. He takes you to Avignon and goes to, I've gone to this brocante, La Ile sur la Sorgue. That antique or brocante fair is just amazing. I picked up a few items there. But he also then takes you through the details. So sharing chic paint colors, finding treasures at the Paris flea market, style secrets for a French tabletop, and romantic flowers from his friend Anne Vitchin. So maybe you know someone on your holiday list that would really love this book. It is beautiful, but I have a feeling many of you, being Francophiles, will love this book and should gift yourself with it. It's called Parisian by Design, Interiors by David Jimenez, and it is by Diane Doran-Sake, with a foreword by Andrew Lauren, who is a client and has been working with David Jimenez on his Upper East Side apartment. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petit Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make the everyday all the more enjoyable. Tune in at the end of each episode where I'll recommend a book, a film, a show, a recipe, anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. Now, one thing I forgot to mention about the book and why I feel it dovetails beautifully with what we're talking about today is as you see all of David's different homes, again, he doesn't live in all of them now. He has his apartment in Paris and he has his country home just outside of Chantilly. Is that you see similar decor pieces that he's brought with him. And that's the point we talked about with not having to begin from scratch. You can bring these items with you that you love, and you're starting from a few steps ahead of where you would have had to had you begun from scratch. So, and I appreciated seeing that. And you still saw him in all of the rooms. And I think that's the other thing. He has a very clear aesthetic of what he loves and what he's drawn to for his homes, the ones he has called home. And I think that there's so much inspiration to draw there, and to trust yourself once you discover what it is that makes you feel at peace, feel comfortable in your own skin, and to feel rejuvenated. All right, I'll be back in 2 weeks' time on the 23rd, Wednesday the 23rd, the eve before Thanksgiving for us here in the States, with a brand new episode. I do hope you'll join me. But before that happens, I just released the annual holiday gift guide from the Simply Luxurious Life, focusing primarily on Anglophiles and Francophiles on your list. So be sure to stop by the blog that was shared just this past Saturday. Over the weekend, I have more than 40 finds for you. And I do hope you find something for yourself perhaps as well, because a lot of the items are for preparation and enjoying the next month and a half, 2 months. So anyway, that's all on the blog. And until next time, bonjour. Thank you for tuning in to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. For more ideas and inspiration throughout the week, visit the blog, The Simply Luxurious Life, with the shortened URL tsll.co or thesimplyluxuriouslife.com. For more in-depth exploration of how to cultivate your own unique, simply luxurious life, pick up my new book, which became both a bestseller and #1 new release in France Travel, The Road to Le Papillon, Daily Meditations on True Contentment. Available in all 4 formats for your preferred reading or listening. My first book, titled Choosing the Simply Luxurious Life, and my second book, Living the Simply Luxurious Life, are also available in each of the 4 formats. Readers can now join the more intimate The Simply Luxurious Life international community by becoming members of the blog, which offers the benefits of ad-free reading site-wide, unlimited access and exclusive access to content on the blog, such as the monthly A Couple Moments with Shannon video chat, tours of my home Le Papillon, the monthly What Made Me Smile post, and monthly Ponderings post, as well as the exclusive opportunity to enter all of the giveaways during the annual French and British weeks. To stay caught up on all things Simply Luxurious, the podcast, blog post, the cooking show, and receive exclusive news, as well as an extra dose of inspiration to jumpstart each new month, subscribe to the Simply Luxurious Life's free monthly newsletter, arriving on the last day of each month in your inbox. There is also a weekly newsletter, which is also free, and arrives each Friday to keep you caught up on the recent weekly posts on the blog. Enjoy with a hot cuppa or cup of morning coffee, and stay in the know about all things simply luxurious. Look for 2 new episodes of this podcast on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of each month. And until next time, I'm your host, Shannon Ables. Thank you for tuning in. Bonne journée.